Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to an all-new reaction and review. Tonight, guys, well, first of all, you might notice I might sound a little bit different. I've got a little bit of a sore throat, but I don't care. I'm going to soldier forth. I've been really curious about watching tonight's movie. Tonight's movie is a blaxploitation flick from 1975. The movie is called Boss Nigger. Wow. I would like to say that it's kind of cool to see that back in the 70s, filmmakers just did not give a fuck about possibly being offensive. So, I don't know anything really about this movie. The only thing I know is that the opening song is like one of the catchiest goddamn things in the history of film, and I'm probably going to share a little bit of that when the film starts, just because I have a habit of doing that anyway. So, I don't really know anything else beyond that. I know it stars Fred Williamson. That's all I fucking know, okay? I know literally nothing else about this movie. I know it stars Fred Williamson. I know that the opening song is catchy as shit. It came out in 75. It's called Boss Nigger. That's it. That's all I know. So I'm going into this sucker absolutely blind, and I'm kind of hoping for it to be pretty good. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Boss Nigger. Well, guys, I was telling you about how the song is catchy as shit. Well, right here's a little sample of it for you. I'm sorry, I really do enjoy this song, okay? And, well, just sort of wanted to let you guys get a little bit of a listen to it. So let me see if I understand this. Our heroes are blackmailing the mayor so that way they can be the sheriffs of this town. You know, that is really cool, and, well, I guess that if I had the opportunity, I would probably do the very same thing if it meant I could have some level of power. So, hey, that's awesome. So, wait a minute here. So, with our new black deputy and sheriff, if you call a person a nigger in public, you gotta pay a $20 fine. That's really fucking cool, dude. Wow, so the town's doctor's really fucking inept. Or at least kind of inept. That would scare the shit out of me if I needed him to patch me up. Holy shit. So instead of going through all of that hassle, Amos could have just handed her the fucking gun and had her club him in the fucking head with it, right? I mean, you know, I totally understand they were going for the whole scene to be sexy, but logically, and also if Amos wasn't just a little bit dim, he would probably just have handed her the fucking gun and would just have had her pistol fucking whip him instead of having her do all of that shit for a rather lengthy, almost unnecessary scene. Just thought I'd toss that out there. Well, folks, that was Boss Nigger. Well, I really don't know what to say. That ending was a little bit of a downer. I really am not going to spoil anything on you because I know some of you guys are probably going to want to watch this at some point. So, let me shut the movie off. Okay, let's talk about this. Alright, first of all, I do need to explain. I haven't watched a lot of blaxploitation films in my life. This is maybe like the third one I've seen, not counting parodies or spoofs on the genre. This here's like the second or third like true straight blaxploitation film I've seen. So my personal expertise in the genre is not exactly widely versed. So I am going to tell you what I just watched here. I kind of liked. All right, it really wasn't that good, but it also wasn't too bad either. I mean, it is something I could, you know, definitely see myself watching, and I'm kind of happy that I watched it. But let's that is more me getting into the whole like recommendation thing. I gotta get into the review first. Excuse me, fucking cold. Anyway, the writing. Well, I think the best way to sum up, the story without going into too much detail is just picture if somebody took Blazing Saddles, which came out a year before this, and decided to play up a lot of the elements of it as straight as they possibly could. And by some elements, I mean we have a black sheriff in a white town, and we have a corrupt sheriff. I mean, not a corrupt sheriff, a corrupt mayor. Well, also the sheriff's kind of fucking corrupt too, but he's sort of cool about his fucking corruption, I'm not going to lie. So we have those elements, which do feel as if they were lifted directly from Blazing Saddles. Mind you, I do not know how long it took them to make this movie. I don't know. So for all I know, they could have been working on it as Blazing Saddles hit theaters, or they could have been working on it afterwards. I don't know. So because I don't know, I cannot directly call it a ripoff. Plus, that is kind of a vague thing to use if you're going to call something a knockoff. I can say that since I know more people have seen Blazing Saddles than have seen Boss Nigger, I can kind of use that as like a reference more than anything else. So it takes those few elements and plays them really, really straight. Mind you, there is still comedy here, but it isn't the kind of wacky comedy that you get from people such as Mel Brooks. So naturally, we also have a lot of drama here. In fact, the drama and the action will far outweigh the comedy in a huge way. So I just want to get that out there. This is in no way a comedy, but it does have moments where it is sort of funny. Writing, though, is kind of sort of strong. Characters are a little bit shallow, though, so I just sort of want you guys to know that you really aren't getting into a really deep film. And in fact, I have this thing paused on the credits, and I'm actually looking at some of the character names. It's like, a lot of the characters in this thing didn't even have names. It's like, I'm looking at this, it's like, yeah, see, we have Drunk, we have Wash Lady, we have Mayor's Man, Uppity Wife. It's like, yeah, those were the character names. So, seeing as how there wasn't a whole lot of detail going into character names, well, there also isn't a lot there in terms of depth. However, this movie kind of works for that. I mean, because, well, Westerns in general are not known for having ultra deep characters. At least, not a lot of the Westerns which I have watched. Again, Westerns are not exactly a strong genre for me either. So we have characters who are kind of flat and they're kind of shallow. However, the story itself is strong enough to carry these shallow characters and make it something at least kind of likable. Again, it's not great, but it is definitely serviceable and it is definitely watchable. Acting. Well, the acting is pretty good. I mean, the acting similar to the writing. The acting isn't great. However, though, the acting is definitely there, and it is far from bad. Nobody here is just phoning it in. No one here is, hamming it up. Everybody's just basically turning in a passable performance. And really, to be fair, that really is the least anyone can truly ask for when it comes to acting. Is just turn in something that is at least serviceable. So we have kind of sort of a ho-hum script, and we have somewhat, ho-hum acting. Camera work is really solid. Special effects are pretty good. Lighting, well, a lot of this was shot outdoors. A lot of it was using natural light. Excuse me. So all of that works out. Now, I want to touch on music. Because, see, a lot of people were sending me messages and they were complaining when I reviewed Requiem for a Dream. And I complained because they constantly dipped into the very same song for most of the movie. Well, see, this movie also does the same thing. However, this movie does it right. You guys happen to remember I kind of let you guys listen into a little bit of the opening song. That song will play throughout the film. However, depending on the scene, depending on the beat, and also depending on the tone of the scene, you will hear a different version of the song. It basically is a different fucking. It's sort of like a different fucking arrangement. Example: the very first time that you are in the town bar, you will hear the theme song playing on the fucking piano, and it sounds really cool. And right towards the end, which I mentioned is kind of sort of a downer sort of thing, you will hear it again played on a piano, but using much more somber sounding keys, and it's being played a lot slower. It really does work to set a little bit of a motif, and it's not nearly as lazily done as with shit like Requiem for a Dream. So that is worth mentioning. So yeah, the music here is very, very well, done, and that fucking opening song is still one of the catchiest things I've heard in any film in recent memory. Overall, though, guys, this should probably be of no real surprise because I've already said it a few times. This movie is not great, however, the movie isn't bad either. So if you can find a copy of this thing somewhere, and I'm talking like to download, or if somehow, some way this thing like runs on television, go ahead and just give it a watch. I mean, it really isn't going to feel like a waste of time. It's just going to be something to watch to kill like 92 minutes if there's really nothing else on and you're just looking for something to, do. The movie, though, ultimately is probably going to be a little bit more forgettable. I personally am happy that I finally got to watch it, because I've been hearing a few things about it. I was hearing about how it's got its moments, and it most certainly does have its moments. However, ultimately, it really isn't something I'm going to rush out and buy on DVD. Okay, that right there is sort of the thing. Is, would I be able to recommend you buying this movie? No. About the only way I could is if you found it like dirt cheap, and by dirt cheap I mean like $2 or less. So really, if you guys can find it, if you guys want to go ahead and download it, if this thing somehow is running on something like Netflix or Crackle or Hulu or something, then go right ahead and check it out. I mean, what the hell, but you know what, beyond that though, I really cannot possibly recommend it outside of just pure curiosity. I really, really wish I could be a bit more solid on that and say, yes, you have to watch it, or no, don't even bother. But this one, it's just, why not? Go ahead. This movie wasn't horrible, but it also wasn't, amazing. This movie is really sort of the dictionary definition of, well, blah, average, ho-hum, what have you. But hey, at least I was willing to give this film a shot. And I am willing to go into more of these blaxploitation style films at some point. I just need to find the right ones. I mean, I would love to cover stuff like Dolomite. I mean, I've never had a chance to see Dolomite. Or even dip into a couple of the spoofs, such as Black fucking Dynamite. I would love to check out Black Dynamite. It's just, well, I haven't had the chance. So this right here is a nice way of sort of getting me prepped for when I get around to covering those movies. I just sort of wish this one was just a little bit better. Well, anyway, guys, I'm just sort of rambling here. So with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.